Hello and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I'm Joshua Barnes, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. Iranian authorities intensify a crackdown on dissent following mass protests. They are seizing properties and closing businesses linked to prominent figures accused of fueling the unrest. Ryanair mocks Elon Musk on social media and calls him an idiot. This comes a day after the Tesla CEO asked how much it would cost to buy the Irish airline. The man who killed Japan's ex-Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has been sentenced to life in prison. This comes 3.5 years after he fatally shot Abe during a rally. An Indian Air Force aircraft crashes during a training mission in Uttar Pradesh. Both pilots eject safely while an inquiry has been ordered. And severe flooding caused by torrential rainfall wreaks havoc across New Zealand's North Island. Authorities urge evacuations in low-lying areas. We begin today as US President Donald Trump is on his way to the World Economic Forum in Davos, and he plans to bring the topic of Greenland with him. The small island has become the latest flashpoint, threatening to tear the transatlantic alliance apart. Just the day before his arrival, Trump mocked European leaders. He leaked chats with his French counterpart and later stated that Emmanuel Macron would soon be out of office.
No, I wouldn't do that. No. Because, Emmanuel's not going to be there very long. And, there's no longevity there. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice guy. I like Macron. But he's not going to be there very much longer, as you know. And I think, I have meetings with the people that are directly involved, not some of the people you're talking about.
Trump has turned Davos into a stage for what looks like a self-made geopolitical drama. When asked how far he would go to acquire Greenland, his answer was chillingly simple. You'll find out. Even as he left the White House, Trump admitted he had no idea how the Davos trip would pan out. That uncertainty followed him to the runway. A minor electrical issue did force Air Force One to return back mid-flight, but Trump resumed the trip soon after. Now all eyes are on his speech, his first Davos address in 6 years. Initially, Trump's address was supposed to be about affordability, housing costs and domestic priorities. That plan seems to be off the table now. Instead, the speech is expected to take a distinctly international flavour, because Trump has threatened tariffs on European countries that oppose his bid to buy or seize Greenland. He says he will hold meetings on Greenland in Davos. He is expected to meet NATO chief Mark Rutte on the sidelines of the summit. Trump is also predicting that a deal that is very good for everybody, NATO, he claims, will be very happy, and Greenlanders who have protested American annexation will be thrilled, but Europe is not buying it. French President Emmanuel Macron has drawn a line in the snow.
We do believe that we need more growth, we need more stability in this world, but we do prefer respect to bullies. We do prefer science to plotism, and we do prefer rule of law to brutality. You're welcome in Europe, and you are more than welcome to France.
Meanwhile, the European Union promises an unflinching response. Canada's Mark Carney is even more blunt. He said the old order is gone, and that this is not a transition, it's a rupture. And then comes the most striking description of all, from California Governor Gavin Newsom. He said Trump is a T-Rex.
Well, this is diplomacy with Donald Trump. He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you. One or the other.
And
people need to stand, but no, the Europeans could be if they continue down this path and process. They need to stand tall, stand firm, stand united. Look, a year ago we should have been having this conversation, and they didn't. Okay, and now you're paying the price. Exactly what anyone objective observer would have anticipated we'd be where we are today.
Strong words, but they reflect real anxiety. Trump is 1 year into his second term, and his extraordinary assertion of American power has made Greenland the backdrop of Davos. Protests erupted in several Swiss cities ahead of Trump's visit. European leaders plan to use the summit to call out what they see as new colonialism. They're looking for an off-ramp, a way to de-escalate. For now, the immediate goal is simple: stop the tariffs, cool the rhetoric, and divert the president from his push to complete and total control of Greenland. Davos is widely called a meeting of minds. This year, it looks like a test of resolve. When Donald Trump takes to the stage today, the world won't just be listening to a speech. It will be watching a signal of where America is headed and how much the rest of the world is willing to push back. And now to the growing diplomatic tensions between India and Bangladesh. In the latest developments, India has decided to temporarily bring back the families and dependents of its diplomats posted in Bangladesh, citing serious security concerns. This decision comes at a sensitive time, just weeks ahead of elections scheduled for February the 12th in Bangladesh. Officials say the move is a precautionary step taken in response to growing activities of extremist elements and a deteriorating law and order situation in several parts of Bangladesh. Indian officials stressed that ensuring the safety of diplomats and their families is a top priority. They added that this decision should be seen purely as a preventative measure taken in view of the prevailing security environment and not as a downgrade of diplomatic engagement. India's High Commission in Dhaka and consulates in Chattogram, Khulna, Rajshahi and Sylhet will continue to function normally. Diplomats and essential staff remain at their posts to ensure uninterrupted diplomatic operations. The decision effectively places India's missions in Bangladesh under what is known as a non-family posting. This is one of the most stringent security measures used by governments worldwide and is usually applied in locations considered unstable or high risk. However, there is currently no official timeline on when families will return or how long the arrangement will remain in place. India-Bangladesh relations have faced strain since the interim government led by Mohammed Yunus assumed power in 2024, following the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Both countries have stepped up security around their diplomatic missions amid recurring protests and political unrest. Now, concerns have also grown over a recent surge in violence against Hindu minorities in Bangladesh. These incidents have increased since the death of student leader Sharif Osman Hadi on December the 12th, which triggered widespread protests and unrest. India has formally raised the issue with Dhaka and urged strong action against what it calls communal violence.
Unremitting hostility against minorities in Bangladesh, including Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists, at the hands of extremists, is a matter of grave concern. We condemn the recent gruesome killing of a Hindu youth in Singh and expect that the perpetrators of the crime would be brought to justice.
Well, India's foreign ministry said it continues to observe a disturbing pattern of attacks targeting minorities. In a recent surge of violence, several Hindu men have been killed in a short span, with reports indicating that 6 killings occurred over just an 18-day period, amid the broader unrest in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the Yunus administration claims a majority of incidents involving minorities were criminal rather than communal in nature. Now, Yunus has spoken directly with the United Nations, seeking international support to counter what he described as a flood of misinformation. He said the campaign is coming from both domestic sources and foreign media and could seriously undermine public trust in the electoral process. Adding to the strain in India-Bangladesh relations is a growing dispute over cricket and security. The Bangladesh Cricket Board has said it will not travel to India for next month's ICC Men's T20 World Cup, citing safety concerns for its players and officials. While India's High Commission in Dhaka and its consulates across Bangladesh remain fully operational, the shift to a non-family posting underscores the level of concern as Bangladesh enters a critical and uncertain phase. Moving on, gold is climbing fast. Prices have surged to record levels, crossing $4,800 an ounce for the first time. This as US President Donald Trump's push to control Greenland revives fears of a wider trade war. Markets have reacted instantly. Investors are rushing to safe havens, and as confidence in major currencies remain under strain, The bullion is rising. And as gold rises, one country is quietly gaining far more than others. That's Russia. Since the war in Ukraine began in February 2022, the value of Russia's gold reserves has surged by over $216 billion. This is not because Moscow has rushed out to buy more gold, but because Moscow already had enough of it. Gold makes up 43% of Russia's total reserves, double its share before the invasion. Foreign currency reserves, meanwhile, have declined. Russia's total reserves now stand at about $755 billion, with more than $326 billion held in gold alone. Russia is also a major gold producer. It mines more than 300 tons of gold every year, second only to China. Gold has come to Russia's economic rescue as sanctions cut off the nation from Western financial markets. Nearly $244 billion of its overseas assets are frozen in Europe. These are cash and securities that can't be sold. But gold is different. Unlike frozen bank accounts, gold still holds value everywhere. It can be used, it can be traded, and as prices rise, its power only grows. As gold prices rise globally, the worth of Russia's reserves keeps climbing, even without a single sale. Officials in Moscow believe prices could rise further, possibly beyond $5,000 an ounce. They argue the rally reflects a deeper shift, a loss of trust in global reserve currencies, and growing concern over the weaponization of financial systems. For now, Russia has only dipped into its gold reserves sparingly, mainly to cover budget gaps. The bulk remains untouched. But the message is clear. While billions of dollars remain frozen in Europe, Russia's gold has quietly restored much of its financial cushion. A reminder that in uncertain times, gold still speaks louder than sanctions. And for our final story, let's shift our focus to the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos, with the spotlight on French President Emmanuel Macron. When the French president took to the stage, he delivered a sharp warning to Donald Trump over tariff threats and his Greenland-sized geopolitical ambitions. Macron's message was serious, but the internet had already locked on to something else entirely. His sunglasses. Yes, blue reflective aviators that he chose to wear indoors at Davos. Such sunglasses are usually reserved for action movies or paparazzi escapes. Cue social media, wondering whether Macron was channeling a secret agent, launching a surprise album, or simply redefining diplomatic dress code. The truth, however, is far less dramatic and far more human. Macron's unexpected eyewear isn't a power move or a star rebellion. It's just a way of attracting less attention and camouflaging. Several reports are stating that the president is dealing with a subconjunctival hemorrhage. In simple terms, it's a broken blood vessel in the eye. Its occurrence can be attributed to sneezing and coughing, and sometimes as simple as poking or rubbing the eyes. However, people with diabetes and high blood pressure are more prone to conditions like this. It looks alarming, but doctors stress it's harmless, painless, and temporary. It typically clears up within a couple of weeks. Macron himself addressed it days earlier during a military visit in southern France.
I would like to extend my best wishes to you at the start of this new year, and I must ask you to excuse the unsightly appearance of my eye. It's something completely harmless. Simply see it as an unintentional nod to the eye of the tiger to kick off the year. For those who get the reference, it's a sign of determination, and it is absolute.
Well, the internet, of course, had a field day once images and videos of Macron went viral. One user quipped that the French president was wearing sunglasses indoors because the future of Europe is just too bright. Another described the look as straight out of Top Gun, complete with action hero energy. Not all reactions were flattering. One account jokingly wondered aloud who had punched him in the eye, to which some suggested that it could be his wife Brigitte Macron, while another compared his aviator-clad appearance to English actor and comedian Peter Sellers in the 1970s. Some users even questioned whether the world should fully buy Macron's explanation for the shades. Others, however, were more sympathetic. One user summed it up neatly, writing the condition is common, but it does look gruesome. So why the shades? Not fashion, not secrecy, not a midlife reinvention, just a minor eye condition, a dash of self-awareness, and a president choosing to control the narrative, one reflective lens at a time. At Davos, where billion-dollar ideas clash and global futures are debated, Emmanuel Macron reminded the world of something simpler. Even presidents get broken blood vessels, and sometimes the smartest move is just putting on the shades and carrying on. Well, thank you for joining us on the programme. That's all we have for today. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thanks for watching.